This episode is fueled by Mountain Ops, supplements to conquer more and crush your countdowns. Visit mountainops.com for all your supplemental needs. Fuel, recover, repeat.
All right, everybody, welcome back to Countdown to Podcast. I'm your co-host, Drew.
I'm Leighton.
And we're brothers. Yeah, okay.
Yes, we are.
All right,
Nailed
so
it.
if you've been following the cast this last 90 days, we've been on a series of encouragement to Mountain Op contestants who are in the Conquer 90 Challenge. And so we've interviewed 13 others who have either won or been a runners-up or had some major changes in the past in their challenge. And we're kind of closing out this challenge because actually 2 days ago, it ended of this recording. 2 days ago, it ended. And so we are actually ending on with our current guest, Trevor Farnes, who is the owner, CVO of Mountain Ops. And so we're stoked to end this with the man.
Woo. Yeah, welcome.
Oh, I'm excited to be here. You guys, I've been looking forward to this one, and you guys do such a good job of kind of setting the table for, a great conversation. So I'm really, really looking forward to this.
It's high praise
Thank you.
already. I love it. Let's see if we'd don't disappoint. But so one thing we do at Countdown 2, we focus on the journey more than the outcome because that's where real change happens. Our goal is to bring people alongside, help them, encourage them, to inspire them in the middle of their own process. So everything we're diving into today is about that journey or a journey or the journey you've taken or we've taken, so others can follow it, learn from it, and maybe even see what's possible for themselves as they apply, to their own lives.
Yes, sir. Yeah, well, Drew, you have a lot of talking up front. So
I do. I'm almost tired of hearing my own voice already.
Me too.
I'm loving it. Keep going, man.
Yeah.
Let's hear what else.
I mean, this honestly, and off script here, our journey and my journey into Mountain Ops to begin with in 2013, was for my first challenge. This podcast actually is kind of a result of that. It was not just because we started this a year ago in March, but it was a result of the journey that I learned through Conquer 90 2023. I clearly didn't win that challenge. Awesome. That was James Stone, rightfully so. But yeah, so this
tough competition.
Oh, awesome competition.
his story's awesome.
Yeah,
man.
and so we started this to kind of continue to encourage others like we were encouraged through Mountain Ops. So this has direct results of it. So and we're stoked you're here. And I'll just dive in to what I know we have on the script here. But and I'm gonna go heavy first, if that's cool. Just diving right in.
Love it.
There is a book, a well-known book out there somewhere. Oh yeah, right here. That some amazing person wrote.
Not as well known as I'd like it to be, but, so this will be helpful. Thank you.
There we go.
Now it will be. Now that it's on
bestseller. Get this book now. No, the Conquer Code. Real quick, what would be your elevator speech for your Conquer Code book?
The Conquer Code is my journey. You talk about a journey, right? It really is, and the journey continues. There's no destination that I've arrived at. But my journey of faith, failure, family, even fitness, I would put in there, and perspective that I've gained along the way, ultimately tying it all back to the conqueror of all things, my Savior Jesus Christ, as the Conquer Code. I'll let you in on the secret before the code is him.
Spoiler alert.
He
Good spoiler.
So there's no secret to that, and if I guess if you look into my life a bit, that's definitely where I spend a lot of my time is trying to improve that relationship, come closer to him, learn of him,
Mhm.
walk with him, hopefully abide in him, and in many ways, and find true opportunity to conquer in life by walking a path alongside him.
Right, exactly. And I loved the book, the journey that you share on there, because again, with our podcast and even with yours, we're talking about the journey, the origins of how it's bumpy, rough, dark, all that stuff. One thing I go back to is like, you were talking about starting out, you and Jenna first married, building your own house, being financially secure with your brother and his business, going out on your own, buying real estate, buying different things to start your journey, and then all of a sudden it just starts to crumble. And I won't give away the book, but I want to touch on the point of starts to crumble. Did you guys go bankrupt? I can't remember exactly.
Fortunately, we didn't,
Okay.
and it was just it was kind of a miracle that we didn't. You were right. We invested into some real estate in 2007, and 2008 was right around the
Sorry.
corner. Best time to try your wings
Yeah.
at real
Yeah.
estate, right? I would have run the other direction had I had a crystal ball, but
Mhm.
and then we invested into a franchise and we went big. Kind of the go big or go home mentality. And as a young, naive, ambitious, and kind of dumb couple, we sometimes it's what you need in life to take some risks. You need to be a little bit dumb and just like not fully aware of what you're getting yourself into. And so we risked big. We went for it. Bought several franchises, paid for the franchise fees, inventoried the stores, furnished the stores, hired friends to run those stores, and then we signed personal guarantees on each of the retail locations. And upon opening those stores about 4 or 5 months in, the franchisor who we bought those from had some issues with a regulatory agency and they shut him down,
Mm.
and he was under investigation. And so they had all the franchisees shut their stores down while that investigation was done,
Ugh.
and we got kind of stuck in the crosshairs. Nothing, we had not done anything wrong. We just had to wait while his investigation was done, and we didn't have staying power.
Yeah.
We didn't have the working capital or cash flow, and so I started to receive an education on those and the fact that you need them to succeed or to last, and just didn't have the staying power. So we had to wrap those stores up, and the landlords were in this financial difficult situation, and they didn't let us off the hook. They
Yeah.
couldn't replace us, and so if we couldn't make those payments, which were $5 to $7 grand a month on 7 locations, they just put a lien on our property.
Yeah.
And for a few years, we didn't pay on our mortgage. And there's so many people going through difficulties at the time that the mortgage companies just didn't get to us to evict us before we actually were able to make a modification. Our house was up for auction and all sorts of stuff.
Mm.
But if somebody, a lady on the other line at the mortgage company just went to work for us and
Hmm.
found solutions.
Wow.
And it's the difference between us having that experience and a neighbor across the street going through something very similar and him getting evicted the same month that we were able to modify our mortgage and stay in our house, and just by a miracle not go through a bankruptcy.
Yeah.
We just clawed our way back out so that wouldn't, and there's nothing wrong with, some people need to restart that way. I just was fighting tooth and nail to not do that, so we didn't have that
On your record. Yeah.
additional burden of going through that. But
Yeah.
you know yeah, but we had lost it all. I mean, everything up to the point of like, okay, it's time to start packing our bags. And then this lady on the other line says, what was rejected on Monday, and this is a Wednesday now, was just approved today.
Hmm.
And if you can do this, let's keep you in your home with your little
I love
kids,
it.
and so
So we're
what a miracle.
Yeah, 100%. And so where was that? So you speak in the book of, I think you said your father-in-law or your father gave you $50, and you guys bought some groceries and stuff like that, and you had $43 left, which is amazing for
Yeah.
groceries back, nowadays. But
That's exactly what
we
I'm
bought
saying.
like a loaf of bread and milk.
okay. But what I want to get at is like, so then you took that $43 and you and Jenna, you're saying both you and Jenna were like, we know what we need to do with this. You need to tithe it, fast tithe it. and give it to God. And like what the point I want to bring home and forefront to this episode is like, I know all along your journey of these stores closing, these the bank calling, the everybody trying to collect all this stuff. You're praying all along, I'm sure, God, just deliver us. God, take care of us. God, and yet everything's still crumbling. And yet you gave your literal last dime to him. And I just, I want to hear that piece of your heart and trust in that, if I may.
Yeah, no, I'd love to share. And I sometimes when I share these stories, I get a little like, oh, I don't want anyone to think I'm sharing the story to say, look at me. I really am sharing the story to say, look at what God
I think
does
I think people will
when you
know that. Yeah.
trust. And so but when we first got married, prior to, during our engagement, we sat down one night, we created a budget in a little folder. We still have the folder. I keep it in a really special drawer where, special notes and letters from kids and my wife and parents that go.
Love it.
And we sat down and we wrote our very meager income, and then we looked at each other and said, "What's the first expense?" And in many ways, this was probably a little gauge of our relationship, her testing me, me testing her. And in our faith, we do, we pay a tithe at 10% of all of our gain. And then we also have what we call a fast offering. And once a month we fast within our congregations. We go without, food and water for 24 hours. And we try to donate a fast offering of the amount that we would have used to buy that food. And if you can, in a little bit more abundance, we try to give a little bit more. And so we'd kind of been taught these things growing up, and these things were important to us. But I remember both of us looking at each other, creating that budget, and the first thing was God, and it was tithing. Like before all else would go out, we would make sure that 10% would go to Him. And then on a monthly basis, we'd decide with each other how much would we pay in a fast offering. And so this was something that was at the initiation of our marriage, was we would put God first. And that's always been the thing. I look at my wife and think, I hit the jackpot in someone that I could just trust and someone that I could just lean on. And if I'm ever weak, I can lean on her and her faith. And if she's weak, she can lean on mine. That being the priority within our relationship. So that's how it started. When this happened, and we woke up one morning, she came in and just fell to the ground bawling, and she's like, it's all gone. And I couldn't get her under control. And finally she opened up to me that she got in our bank account and everything was gone. And I couldn't believe it. There was still a few months worth of savings there for us to live on, but these businesses had just kind of been driving. I was doing everything I could to replace what was being lost, but it was, the game of catch up wasn't as fast as the disappearing act of our funds at the time. And so I went and checked the bank accounts. Sure enough, it was gone. Uh, Found out at the bank that our personal banking was at the same bank as our business banking, and there was a loan that we had, a line of credit, and a $300 monthly payment was missed. And instead of paying going into our personal account, which I didn't know they could do, but so we bank separate in separate banks now, business and not that I feel like we'll get to that point, hopefully not, but just if you don't know, that can happen.
Yeah.
They can go into, because your personal funds guarantee the banking fund, that the business funds. They took not just $300 to pay the minimum amount, they took everything in our account to pay off the balance. And so we woke up to nothing, and I couldn't believe that this could happen. So I asked the bank, just take double the amount, take triple the amount. We have enough to pay quadruple the amount, but don't take it all. Like, what do I do? I'm a young father.
Yeah.
I'm a young husband, like really. And there was nothing they
Stone
could
is
do.
one.
So I called my father. You find yourself on your knees praying with your wife. You reach up to the Father in heaven and ask for his guidance and direction. And how is this happening? And what do we need to know from this? And how do we, take some steps forward? And then I called my father, who just lived up the street, and asked for some advice, and he came by, and that's when he brought the $50. And he just said, hey, just for the weekend, take care of anything you need. Um, and on Monday, let's go to the bank together and let's try to get this figured out. Um, I feel like all along in those financial difficulties, God was answering our prayers with the most meaningful experiences that we have been blessed by in so many ways. The abundance of blessings that came by way of experience and perspective and empathy that's now built through perspective, that you can't put a cost on that. So the downfalls, or the crumbling, was actually it was a building phase of our life. It was a character building. It was resilience. It was like, where do we truly trust, and can we truly trust God? And we came to find out in so many ways, like, he is the one we can trust. But in that moment, yeah, we bought a few things and had $43 left. Um, that I feel like it's God's. Either way we look at it, it's like, okay, we've got $43. What over the weekend could we do with that that could be better than starting a fast, just completely pouring our hearts and souls into our relationship with God, pleading with him, and turning everything we had financially over to him was the most freeing um, experience of my life. Honestly, just the control that I felt that was given to him, and now we could face the future with confidence and with peace. There was a peace in that moment that I would give anything to continue to have. And so I would just say, like, that was a moment of real strength for us, that we found through him. It didn't create fear, knowing that, because he can't do much with $43 anyways, but he
Yeah.
could. And it wasn't the $43, it was the heart
Right.
that was given. And it was kind of this. One of my favorite hymns says, "Here's my heart, Lord, take and seal it, seal it for the courts above." And that was a moment for us as a couple where we both knew this was what we should do. And it was kind of a moment of take our hearts and do with it how you would, point us in the right direction. And then we saw some pretty incredible miracles transpire from that. But the miracle greatest of all in my heart, my life, my mind, is that turning our hearts to God brought about a peace that can't be given in any other way but through him. And so it was an amazing blessing for our family to go through that.
That's awesome. Yeah.
That is amazing. Well, I'm glad you stayed faithful too, because like a lot of people would crumble themselves or not, they'd turn away from God. But because you did, you also created, Mountain Ops came from this. But in that, this wonderful, amazing community on the Conquer Facebook page of 17,000 people that all love and support, and the lives that have been changed in the community of it. So thank you for hanging on there. But
the community is everything. I mean, that connection to everyone's.
I love it. So what was the time frame between that moment of losing everything and the birth of Mountain Ops?
That was probably in 2008, when, like, hey, we woke up and there was nothing left. And so about 6 years prior to Mountain Ops, we call it our 7 years of famine. We just completed in our study, this, reading in the Bible about the story of Joseph, and sold into Egypt and experiencing the 7 years of famine. So I always talk about, like, yeah, we had 7 years of famine, and when you're in the midst of that, it feels like a long time. And you look back at it, it's like, man, 7 years can go by really quickly. But when you're all consumed with what you feel is failure, or what you feel is an inability to provide the way you'd like to, it can be pretty weighty. But in the grand scheme of things, it was kind of a blink of an eye.
Yeah. Good. Definitely. Now,
awesome.
you spoke of, like, turning to God. You spoke of the things that were taught. Was there anything, if you don't mind sharing, was there anything in those moments in the darkness that you really saw and believed about yourself, or in your situation, that you realized just wasn't true?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes in life you get a little confident in yourself and your abilities, and I feel like in many ways, like, I tried to hide the fact that we were going through some difficulties and some failures, and so I put up walls. When we started those businesses, I scream it from the rooftops: "We're in business. Come buy from us, because we need that resource." Um, but you kind of you get excited, you get confident, you try to act as confident as possible so people believe in what you're selling or what you're offering.
Sure.
Um, and uh, and it wasn't necessarily that I believed I could do it on my own, but there was kind of those thoughts like, I think I can go out and create business and succeed. I've seen brothers do it. Seen their example. I want to be like them. I want to have the success that they've had. That brotherly pressure can sometimes be difficult, but honestly, in many ways, that pressure is a privilege, and it pushes you. But I was going to go succeed on my own.
Yeah.
I was going to make it on my own. And then in these moments where I was failing, you'd find me, hiking up a mountain, find a rock to sit on all by myself and bury my head in my hands
Mm.
and cry out to God for, what direction do I take next? And I remember thinking, I am not meant to succeed on my own.
Mm.
And finally, that was like a truth that I spoke to myself or that God was speaking to me. And it's absolutely correct. We're not meant to succeed on our own. Leighton, you just talked about the Facebook group. I mean, that, in my opinion, is a connection that allows people to conquer. And it's through connection that we conquer. And so I had to start to kind of look at things a little different, maybe drop my walls, look outside of myself, see a neighbor that was going through something similar, open up, be vulnerable, connect and conquer. Like that was the truth that I needed to realize. And then once that started to be put into a major focus in my life, my relationship with God and the connection with Him was incredible. And I saw His hand maneuvering things, putting people in my path. My family relationships through struggles grew and they became stronger. My we started building a team here at Mountain Ops, and over time, you add people to your life, and they are seeking for growth. You're seeking for growth, and all of a sudden, you're helping each other grow, and then you connect and conquer. So that was like a truth that I had to come to realize. It's like I'm not meant to succeed on my own. I couldn't do it on my own, and to this day, like you look at what's been created, and the secret sauce is the team and the
Mhm.
community and the way the community feels about each other and supports each other, and then you can thrive and you can conquer. So hopefully that answers your
Yeah. Oh,
question. But
Yeah,
yeah,
big.
damn.
It answered the next one too. So,
oh, really?
yeah, I was just. Well, I mean, I was gonna ask how that new belief actually showed up in your day-to-day actions, and
Yeah.
I mean, it unfolded to
It sounds
where it
Yeah,
is
I
now.
would
So,
say like I have people ask all the time, like, what would you tell like an aspiring entrepreneur or somebody that's going through something? And I would say make as many connections as you possibly can.
mm,
And especially if people that have been where you're going or trying to do or have done what you're trying to do, mentorship is such an incredible blessing in life. And there's a lot of people that like to kind of lift as they go, to turn around and see those that are walking a path they once did, and they're willing and able to shed a light on a path that might be obscure to you, but they've walked it. And so you're definitely most powerfully positioned in life to serve the person you once were. And there's plenty of people that are willing to do that for others. And I absolutely love that. Anytime I get an opportunity to help somebody that's walking a path I once walked, it's such an incredible blessing. And I feel like that's what God gives us experience to utilize that,
Mhm.
the perspective been given. It's a gift. And so, yeah, connection. I just feel like what gets in the way is our ego. And so, ego can be very detrimental to any connection.
Yeah. 100%.
yeah, I was about to say because I when I was younger really wanted to like prove to everyone I can do something. I don't know, and do it all on my own
Mm,
too.
yeah.
And I feel like that's pride, and that's not a fruit of the spirit, And like
Yeah.
so coming together, like my fiance and I, we just joined a parenting class at church,
Cool.
and this couple yesterday, it was so nice hearing other people and what they do with their kids, and it's just like, oh yes, this is
Yeah.
awesome, and connection. And so it's like when we can all come together, yeah, like you said, we can conquer
Yeah.
more. Drew,
That's
if you could be
awesome.
a little louder,
Oh,
that'd be
I'm sorry.
cool.
So I've known Trevor a few years now, just through Facebook and the settlement and stuff like that. And every time I'm around him,
Yeah.
I'm like, I need a pen and paper
Oh.
to write this stuff down because It's gold. I'm gonna have to re-listen.
You what? I wish I could hand this to you through the.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Just throw it really hard.
No, I'll just have to re-listen to the episode for sure.
There you go.
Yeah, we're recording, right?
Oh yeah,
I know. I keep making sure. I'm like, we are definitely recording.
Oh, I know. That's like the biggest fear for me. I've had one podcast that I've done that wasn't recording,
no.
so I had to redo it. And so I'm always like watching the recorder. And now it's scary because I used to do it all on my own. Now I have Spencer that sits in with me and watches the cameras.
nice.
And it's such a
Cool.
comfort to know there's somebody else paying attention to things. But
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
So let's fast forward just a hair. Mountain Ops seems to have become a vehicle for an amazing thing. So, I mean, you got Conquer Hunger, which we'll get into, hunts across the world. Even your private Facebook group that we've talked about is so uplifting. And I just feel like is the outpouring of your heart. As CVO, do you continue to have visions of adding more impactful pieces beyond consumerism that you can share at this time? Or can you just give us a thumbs up?
Yeah.
Or
No, I always have ideas, and that we have one of our core values that's desire, and it says we value highly ambitious people driven with a desire to succeed, but with an attitude of temperance. And so that attitude of temperance, it almost seems like the opposite of a highly ambitious people, and so you're kind of working at both ends. But the temperance, it kind of keeps us in check and gives us format and gives us a framework to work in and a disciplined way to go about it. And so there's a lot that I would love to do that it's like sometimes it's like maybe not right now is not the right time, or when I've got to do it in the right time, and I'm not the only one that comes up with the ideas. There's a lot of our team is incredibly creative, and so when you have a team full of people that are like, hey, how about this? So you have to kind of like channel that in a way that would say, yeah, it makes sense now. This may not make sense now. I would love more connective experiences, in my opinion. And even so, CVO is my new title. For those of you that don't know, it's Chief Visionary Officer. So I was the CEO for the first 10 years of the business, now acting as founder and CVO. And that's just to help us kind of keep the vision and keep the mission on track, make sure the culture stays consistent so that we can achieve the results that we'd like to with the vision. In my opinion, the greatest way to do that and how we've built Mountain Ops is like one-on-one connections. But it's hard to, as the business grows, it's hard to have a one-on-one connection with everyone. And so try to make it as personal online as possible. I try to share as much as just daily life as possible. I need to do better in the Facebook group, to be honest. I love that group, but I honestly sometimes sit back and think, I don't want to mess anything up with and so I'm like, everyone's doing so much good with it. I don't want to interfere. Because sometimes people do look at like founder or CVO and they're like, oh, okay, do we have to behave a different way? And it's like, no, I'm as normal as anyone else in the group. I want that connection just as much as anyone else in the group. I need the encouragement just as much as anyone in the group. But I don't want to like interfere at all. And so, but I want to find ways to create more connective tissue with that group. And so I'm excited for it. Like the Conquer Summit this year is on steroids. Like it is, it's a little bit longer than previous years. We go from a Thursday to a Saturday. We're at a different venue. We will come to the Mountain Ops headquarters. I think it's important to bring people here to the home, and give people that experience to stop in and say hi and do a tour and buy some stuff. But, I want to do more of those throughout the year, and it could be a smaller group in this region. I just posted a few weeks ago. I was down in St. George. I was running the rocks there. I think you guys sent me a biking message or something. And that same trail I bike all the time. So I'm usually like running it in the morning and biking it in the afternoon.
Cool.
It's super technical and just a lot of fun. I would love to bike that with you guys. But I'm sitting there at this location looking at the beauties around, and I'm like, oh, I would love to do a Connect and Conquer Summit down here. And, we do one big one for Mountain Ops every summer. But throughout the year, I want to do more of that. Every month here at Mountain Ops, it's kind of hard when people aren't local.
Yeah.
I bring a group of guys together. We talk about the core value of the month. These are friends, they're customers, they're people that can make it, and we have a discussion around it. And we sauna together after the workout. You share some sweat, some
Right.
misery, and then you talk about life. This last month, last Friday was interdependence is the core value, and we sat around and everyone took 60 seconds or less to share what they are doing with that. But I feel like there's an opportunity to do that virtually,
Hmm.
to do like a Conquer book club virtually.
Ooh.
Uh, and I would honestly like to lead a Conquer book club with my book, for maybe a 90-day challenge, and we go through the book together. And anyone who wants to join, from around the country, we go through it, and I share what I was thinking in those moments and kind of expound maybe upon that, but also get other people's feedback and what life experiences have you had similar to this that you can share with the group. I just am all about connection. And I love it when we can be in person, but if we can't, like sitting down like this is the next best thing, you know? And so for me personally, in my vision of connection with our community, it's making some of those things that we do here internally and at the headquarters more virtual, and getting more people involved so we can just keep that connective tissue strong, and building upon that, with one
I
another.
love it.
Yeah.
So maybe
I
some of those things in the future.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. By the way, both Leighton and I have our plane tickets already for the summit, so we're excited to be there.
Awesome.
And
That's awesome.
yeah.
I've got you guys down, and I've got, some upcoming like just notifications as to like what's going to happen at it and some things we're doing. It's gonna be amazing. We've got a big Hush movie night the Friday night. We'll be showing the film we did with them, with a friend of mine who's got terminal cancer, and his son. They'd never hunted before, and then we've got two young men. I think they're 15 and 18 that are both going through cancer right now that we're going to raise some money for. They're cousins, and one of them's brother passed away a few years ago from cancer. Now their second son has cancer,
oh
and
my
then his cousin
gosh,
has cancer.
wow.
Need to move or something.
Um,
Wow.
so it's I don't know, it's such a struggle. They're up against a mountain, and that's the Mountain Ops community. We help people conquer mountains in life, and so we're gonna at least inspire some hope and confidence and give them some love, that week. They should be there with their families,
Yeah.
and we're doing a big raffle to help them out. One of them, the father just lost his job at the same time as all this is going on.
Goodness gracious.
And so we've got a lot we're trying to do, and I think bringing that group together, just the groups we bring together, they're just the most heartfelt individuals, like yourselves. I mean, people that care, people that want to do good in this life, and are willing to reach out, and help those that are feeling down,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And we'll have an opportunity at this summit. We'll do a full-on Conquer Hunger, event where we'll pack thousands of meals.
I'm stoked.
And yeah, it's gonna be cool. We have Mountain Tough coming out to run a workout with us. We've got a elk calling, seminar, like, and a workshop. Everyone will get a bugle tube. A lot of people have never blown through one of those before. And we'll do a clinic for about 40 minutes, and then for about a half an hour, we'll do a head-to-head call off and see who the last bugler standing is.
I love it.
So it's gonna be fun, and it's gonna be funny, and there's gonna be some great content created. So, but I wish that everyone could come and experience that, because I think when you do and you make the time to come out, there's bonds and connections that are created, but there's also like there's just experiences that you walk away from thinking, okay, I now can do more in my life to conquer more in these different realms. And it just gives people so much traction,
Yeah.
as they leave with that kind of momentum, right? So I'm excited you guys will be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
we're excited.
I still need to share at some point my 3X SC from last year. So for
Are you going to share it now,
no,
or are
I'm
you
not
going
gonna
to share
share
it
it
at the
now.
summit, or?
Sometime I'll share it with you. So
I want to hear it. That's awesome.
Well,
And hey, a little bit back to the CVO role for you.
Yeah.
When you have the vision for targeting mountain bikers, let us know. And
I absolutely love. I mean,
we'll
I
champion it.
probably mountain bike more days than I do hunt. So, it's my son was on the mountain biking team. Mountain biking is huge here in Utah, as
Yeah.
you guys know, but
Yeah.
the teams are incredible. He was on the high school team for a period of time until he broke his shin, and then, but we still get out and bike all the time. I've been on a little bit of a cheater bike lately. I got a Fazari, or it's there now, Ari,
Okay.
Wire Peak Pro. So it's an e-bike. I have a Yeti, just a non
Oh.
electric bike, and I love it. So I Yeah. What do you got behind you?
Yetis. Drew and I
Yetis?
both ride
Okay,
Yetis.
sweet.
Yeah.
So I was
That's
going to say,
awesome.
so we're our countdown to challenge currently right now for us is to ride in the Yeti gathering in Colorado they have each year. They haven't posted the dates yet,
That's
and actually
awesome.
we're hoping that it's not the same weekend as
You
Mountain
guys-
Ops.
that's
Yeah.
what I was gonna say.
But hey, you're welcome to come along with us if you'd like on your
Yeah.
Yeti.
If I can ride my e-bike, I don't think I could keep up with you
No,
guys
no, no.
without my e-bike.
No, we're not that fast.
Yeah.
I forget who, somebody was telling me they biked with you and they're like, yeah, they were out of my league. Who did you bike with somebody here?
I
Drew
biked.
rode with Dan.
I rode with Dan.
Maybe it was
Keck.
Dan.
Did-
Was Dan able to keep up?
No, he destroyed me because my
No, he
lungs.
couldn't.
No, he's way
Oh,
better.
really?
Well, because my lungs aren't used to the high altitude,
Coming from,
and so
yeah.
exactly. So I was just
Makes
like,
sense.
I'm in shape. Why am I dying? But
Yeah, it's
actually, Leighton and I we're getting in early on Thursday before the summit, and we're gonna go biking in Utah. So if you're not busy,
Do you know where you're going?
it's in the works.
Probably-
I won't be busy at all setting up for the event.
exactly.
But I would love to. If I can make it work, that'd be amazing.
Okay, well,
We're
I mean, you
only-
got to get some exercise in before a summit.
Yeah, exactly.
We're
So.
only thinking about there's a smaller trail called Bobsled that's really fun
Right
in
behind-
Salt Lake.
Uptown.
okay.
It's like
Yep, it's up by the Capitol.
Yeah.
There's some cars. See, so are you guys jumping over the cars that they have there?
I'm
Are you
not.
guys doing all that stuff?
I'm not.
I probably won't because so last time we were in Utah last year and we stopped at Mountain Ops headquarters and I did a pull up. That's all we did. And then we went to Moab and then I broke my collarbone
At Moab.
last
dang.
year. And so now I'm still a little hesitant to like sending it. So I'm like,
Yeah.
So So
No, I absolutely love mountain biking. Bobsled, I've only done it once, but it was a blast.
it is.
And so I would love to do that again. I've done Moab multiple times, but my first time was as a teenager in the middle of July.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
the temperatures down there are crazy. I took one water bottle full of Hawaiian punch, and so I was so dehydrated. I was cramping. I had to ask for water by every biker that was coming by. Can I just have a little squirt of your water? And then I ate some hot dogs and SpaghettiOs that night and just felt horrible.
wonder why.
So if you do Moab, don't do it in July or
No.
Slick Rock is an incredible trail, and just take a lot of water.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I-
We did the whole enchilada.
No,
Well,
I did.
Drew
I
did
did
the
the
whole
whole
enchilada.
enchilada.
I did half of it.
The whole enchilada.
You ate
did
half the
him.
enchilada.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Dang, man, I'm sorry. I think I remember hearing that.
Yeah. It was a good time. But
Yeah, exactly.
cool.
What's the part of your story that people tend to misunderstand the most, would you say? And I bring this up because it's always fun to, see somebody that oh man, I connect with Trevor. I hear his story. I feel him, I look up to him, yada, yada. But like, there's so many things that can be misunderstood or not appreciated, I guess. What would you say you find?
I don't know. Maybe I kind of want to ask, like, what do you guys misunderstand? What are you guys confused about? Or what have you heard? What's the chatter?
Well, on the Facebook
I-
page, there's no joking.
Yeah, I don't want to know. I mean, seriously, in all honesty, like sometimes there's business decisions that need to be made, and you can't reveal everything about how those decisions were made or what conversations were had. And I take everything super personal, and so when people are involved, I love people. It's the reason why I'm in business. I don't love business for business sake. I love to have a mission. I love to have people that are being blessed by that. I love to create a resource that is beneficial to people, and that there's good coming from that. And so anytime a change needs to be made, and there's been changes over the last 12 years to this entire organization. I mean, it's not the same people here that, from the beginning. There's a few of us. There's two of us left that were here day one, myself
Nick?
and Nick
Yeah.
Hanks.
I
Yep.
like Nick.
And he's a great guy. He's awesome. And And so there's always change, and there's things that evolve, and then there's pressures on business, and there's pressures on budget, and you have investors, and you have a board, and you have all sorts of things. My biggest thing is to act in integrity to the core values in all things. And if people don't understand, or this, because probably they don't have they're not privy to all the
Sure.
information, but that can get super difficult. And then I think not so much misunderstanding, but I think when you're building a business, the best thing you can do is like scream with the megaphone, like the story. And I don't think a lot of people know the entirety of the story. There's a book written about it. You just held it up.
Where was it?
There's some
Oh, yeah.
podcasts happening. I I love the fact that you guys are having me on your podcast so I can tell more of the story. But there's just not a megaphone big enough to help everyone understand that this started through financial difficulty. It started with one person in mind, which was my dad. And
It's an
if
amazing
there was
story.
something I could see, if I could like really help my dad, then that was worth enduring and going through when we weren't making money. But if I could help him, it's interesting to know that a lot of people have been with the brand for a long time and don't know hardly anything about Operation Conquer Hunger, that their purchases for so many years have actually fed hungry families and children. That's I would say that's the biggest differentiator of Mountain Ops. Look at the sea of sameness when it comes to the supplement industry. Everyone's got good flavors and good products, and they're just touting that, and they're trying to show how good their ambassadors look physically, and there's a lot of vanity built up in it all. And that's not Mountain Ops, but sometimes you don't have a megaphone big enough to share what the heart and soul of it is, and how it started, and how honestly, you know, every individual is part of the growth of this. And so it's been a one-on-one business build, and everyone's individual stories that really make up what is Mountain Ops. I'm gonna botch this quote, but it says something like, if they like you, they'll listen to you. If they trust you, they'll buy from you. If they have an experience with you, they'll never leave you. But if they have a transformation with you, they become your brand disciples. And so anyone that's been through that, they've kind of gone through this stage, and we want to be liked, but not for just, oh, we like this, cool. I don't want to just be a cool looking brand.
Yeah.
I want them to find out what it is beyond the mark. I never say, like the scriptures tell us, do not look beyond the mark. And speaking of Jesus Christ, he is the mark. And so often we look for, but in this case, look beyond this mark right here. Look into the heart,
Yeah.
look into the people, and then trust the fact that we're doing everything we possibly can to not create confusion, but to give you something that will benefit your life. And when it does benefit your life, and you see that transformation, people, they start to share it, and they want others to experience it as well.
Yeah.
It goes back to, I talk about FOMO all the time, not FOMO, but FOMO being fear of others missing out. If I am transformed by something, and the number one thing in my life is Jesus Christ, I have a fear of others missing out on what I'm experiencing in that relationship. So, I can talk about a good restaurant, a good movie. I can talk about Mountain Ops all day long. But the thing I love to talk about and want to talk about and scream it from the mountains, Jesus Christ. He is the way. And so that's because I've had a transformation with him.
Yeah.
My life has been changed. My heart's been changed. My mind's been changed. So many of my life's blessings. So, and sometimes, I don't know, maybe there's some confusion around that, or misunderstanding around what does that mean? Or how do you include business and faith together? And I could talk a whole podcast on that, because it really is, it's super simple. I have religious beliefs. I'm a part of a religion, but when we speak of recognizing God, it's a recognition that we all have varying beliefs. Most of us looking to Jesus Christ as our Savior, and I respect and revere and honor the way that everyone worships and believes, and that recognizing God. Maybe we're going to get into it a little bit more. I think I saw some questions about that.
Spoiler alert.
But it's as simple as, like, for me as a business leader, I need to recognize the good that people have and put it to use, put it to work. And if I recognize good, I recognize God. And I don't think whether people believe in God or not, I don't think they dispute that. It's like, yeah, that's what we should do in business. We should find the qualities of individuals that match well with the responsibility, and have that make up this, this team environment
Yeah.
that plays to their strengths, not weaknesses. And in my opinion, that's recognizing God at its simplest form. And
Yeah.
then we pray and we share a Sunday scripture and we do those things. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if there's specific questions or things that you've heard that are
No.
misunderstood that I can clarify.
No, not necessarily. It wasn't
No.
more. It was more from a standpoint of just like public figures often are seen in a certain way. You're pretty transparent though, so
Yeah.
it makes a difference. But Leighton, I'm gonna jump in here real quick.
Yep.
What I also like about your story and your mission is you don't live it, nor do you speak prosperity gospel. Have you heard that before? Prosperity gospel. Just in the sense of like, hey, come to Jesus because all your wildest dreams will come true. You'll be loaded, all that stuff. And there's people that maybe don't speak that, but they live that way. Like, oh man, like I knew people in the church who would be like, oh, these poor people are coming to church. There's something wrong with their faith. And I love your story because even in the hardest times, you're like, I'm praying, going through this season. God's not answering these prayers, or he is, but you're not seeing it until after the fact. And so there's not a question in there. There's just a touch point with
Well,
that.
it makes me think of, like, I love a scripture in John 10, and it says, I am come that they might have life and that they might have it more abundantly. That's my favorite scripture to pair up with the conquer more mentality, is that through Jesus Christ, it's not that there's prosperity financially, but there is more abundance in life than any of us could ever comprehend. But it comes in so many varying forms. And I would say one of the greatest is peace and confidence in your future and your ability to just trust in him. It doesn't have to always be like like you turn, you pay a fast offering and financial benefits come. I haven't that's typically not the case with it's not a vending machine transactional
Right.
relationship
Yeah,
with God.
exactly.
Put this in and you get this out. It's not been that way. But I do believe that there are promises where God says, try me in this. Pay a tithe and watch that I will not open the windows of heaven, pour out a blessing that you have not enough room to receive it. And I've seen that, but it comes in. You have to keep your eyes open, and that's a choice, because the blessings come by way of a relationship with you guys. The blessings come by way of somebody that I needed on my path to even find the next contact for our business. The blessing comes by some business that reaches out and says, can we hold a Conquer Hunger and we'll sponsor it? Like, there's so many things that it's just like the there's an abundance mentality when you lean on Jesus Christ, and he provides in more abundance, but you have to have the eyes to see abundance in maybe a different light than just prosperity or just financial status. I think we do a very poor job of defining success, where we put it on things and on bank accounts and homes and cars and all that. And my
Material.
favorite quote, yeah, material. And it's like, success is knowing that those who know you best love you most. And so who knows you best and all your weaknesses and frailties and shortcomings and still loves you most? That is peace, and that is confidence, and that is abundance in my opinion. And God knows me best, better than anyone. He knows every weakness, every hidden weakness that I live with, and he loves me most, even still, and despite those weaknesses. And the more we can come to know that and feel confidence and peace in that, that's success in my opinion.
Yeah.
And that's abundance in my opinion.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Speaking of success, Leighton, I'm going to jump down to the next one real quick because it lends itself right into that. So,
I'll ask a question eventually.
yeah, eventually.
I'm just kidding.
I'm a huge fan, so I could go on forever. But have you ever had a moment where faith in your business felt like they were pulling in two different directions?
A little bit. It usually comes by way of I'm working with people that are not on the same value set as me, or that maybe say they are, and then they've come to find out we don't actually agree to approach things the same way. And that doesn't have to be faith, but like, you look at core values, and core values, in my opinion, are what make up a brand. It's not the logo we all have on our shirt. That's a mark that identifies a brand. But when people actually connect with a brand. It's because people have treated them a certain way, people have interacted with them a certain way, and our core values make up that. And so if I've ever been, and in my opinion, those core values that you see on the Mountain Ops website, those are principles taught in my home growing up. Those weren't like, hey, let's start a business and how should we be?
Right,
Like,
right.
who should we be? It's I look at those core values. To me, they're Christ-like characteristics that if lived, you live a good life, no matter what a chapter or what arena of life you're playing in. And sometimes I've worked with people that don't align with
Yep.
those, and so my principles are pulled out. Do we stay in this relationship, or do we need to part? And ultimately there always needs to be a separation, and unless change is made. I typically go a little longer than maybe I should at giving grace and extending a second chances and third chances and stuff, and I think that's okay, because people change, and if people have an experience and they see the value in living a certain way, then maybe they adapt to that, and they then establish that as their value set. But yeah, I've been pulled particularly by people, and let's do this or let's do that, and it just didn't align
Sure.
with either my faith or the principles of my faith. So
That makes sense.
without getting like into
No.
too much detail, it's
Yeah, that's great. So, building a values-driven brand in a pretty secular business world, have you ever faced pushback or felt like growth was limited because you chose to stick to those values?
No, like absolutely not. I like kind of going back to some of the answers I just gave, um, and defining success with the relationship with God. That ultimately for me is the biggest opportunity and the biggest risk. In business and in life, there's reputational risk, and who you align with, who you work with, how you do things. Like I don't want reputation tarnished based off of who I associate with, or decisions that I'm making. And ultimately with God, I don't want my reputation with Him to be tainted in any way, shape, or form. And so I've only seen that when we live true to core values, maybe we could have gotten somewhere a little faster by skirting around something. But I've seen so many businesses go up and then down. I'm really looking for longevity, and what that means to me is like that attitude of temperance comes into play, and discipline, two core values, and decision making standards come into play. We made a decision long ago at the Hunt Expo to not exhibit on Sunday, and that was our first exhibit that year. I think it was 2015, and we just decided that would be one way to recognize God. We're
That's
we're going to be with our family. We're going to go to church if the team goes to church, if that's the way they worship on Sunday. And this ties back to a personal story and a decision that I made long ago. My parents met on Sunday in Washington, D.C. My mom was a flight stewardess. My dad lived back there going to school. He was at his church on Sunday. My mom decided to go to church on Sunday, on her layover while she was waiting to fly back to Salt Lake. And there's my dad. And so I have a lot to say about how the Sabbath day and observance and worshiping can benefit generations. I've got sweaty eye syndrome, as you guys can see. But I just the impact of an individual's choice to honor God, and God honors those who honor Him, and so I watched that with my parents, and I decided long ago that would be important to me. And so the first Hunt Expo here, we're a pretty big booth. Not the first year, but as we've grown, you find an empty booth. Last year, we actually set up this last February. We set up a Conquer Hunger Station in our booth so people could come and serve on the Sabbath and
nice.
pack meals, and that was really cool. I wish we would have thought to do that in years past, because typically it's just been an empty booth. And again, we don't do that to say, hey, look, we're at church and you're not. We just do that to say, hey, we've got some principles we've decided to live by.
Yeah.
And hopefully you understand why we're not here. And I've sat down with individuals and they're like, that's a day where people are transacting, people are there to spend their money with you. Isn't there a risk to that? And my response will always be, my bigger risk is with God, and God will always reward. He will always reward, and in so many different ways. It's not the vending machine. You can't just pick, I'd like this reward for this action. You just have to trust that he'll prevail in your life.
Yeah.
I love that. Where does God keep showing up at Mountain Ops to this day?
Oh man, I love it. Like this last week, we sent out an Easter message. I would say, and I wrote that with just like a, hey, why do we do this? What is Easter about? I have a father who passed away a couple years ago. All of a sudden, the resurrection meant something so much
Mm-hmm.
more to me in my life as a 42-year-old when he passed away than it ever had before, because now all of a sudden someone super close to me is gone,
Mm-hmm.
and I have this hope and this confidence in that. And so, I typed that message up. We sent it out in an email last week. We get more response from a message and an email like that than anything else we send
Mm.
out. It's just incredible. And people are like, "Thank you. I needed this message today. I need that hope today." He shows up in just the decisions we make to put a Sunday scripture out. Those are our greatest performing Instagram ads. But I'll tell you, he shows up in the little daily efforts um, and the work of the team here. Somebody creating an ad, somebody answering a call, somebody jumping into the Facebook group and helping someone out, somebody in the Facebook group giving some advice to somebody that's struggling. Um, it's just endless if you really, and that's what I love about life is it's so much happening for us and around us, but we really have to choose to see it. So when you ask that question, I'm like, man, it's showing up right now for me in a conversation with the two of you.
Mm.
He's a I mean, think of like, where else would we have connected?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When else would we have connected? I don't know, but there's this brand that brought us together, and we're all a part of it, and we get to have a relationship that really matters to me.
Do you remember
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, it kind of floored me. You just said it. But I did remember it actually, like, just like there was kind of a hush in the room. Not there was a lot of people that hushed, but like it just kind of, one word, hope, is like so powerful. If a brand can, and it's not necessarily a brand, it's like people, right? But it's what makes up that brand, and what encourages a person within a brand or a mission or a movement. And if they can be inspired with some hope in their life, wow. Every time I present at a Conquer Hunger event, I talk about the little note cards that are going into a packet, and how a child will take this home, and they're going to put that food in their belly, and that's going to remove a distraction, and then all of a sudden this message that's on there that says you were made to conquer should inspire hope. That's the response that we hope that a child feels, that a father or a mother feels, that somebody going through the Conquer 90 challenge, somebody that's just buying product for the first time, somebody that's looking for a fitness routine that might give them some ability to conquer a mountain they've never thought they could, and all of a sudden they have a community that brings them
yeah.
hope. When you said that, I was like, that's like, it's what we want. I Yeah, because we've all felt hopeless at times in life. We've all
Yeah.
had moments where we hit rock bottom, and the great thing about rock bottom is that there's so much hope because we're on the rock. There's a sure foundation, and if we can find him and we can find our rock, then there's hope. But I love it. Tell me why hope is the word you
Yeah, I mean,
choose.
it came quick to my mind. So when my journey, just with some of my stuff I deal with, getting in shape's been the hardest thing. And then I'd go to gyms, and I'm there with the meatheads and the, very unsupportive crowds around you, and it's all about skinny culture and muscle mass and yada yada. I found Mountain Ops through just an ad. Your marketing team, by the way, is phenomenal. I found it through an ad, and
Yeah, they're good.
the Chevron logo and all that stuff. I was like, oh, this is pretty
Yep.
cool. Oh, you can win money, and so I signed up for Conquer 90, and I was like, dang it. there's a Facebook group page, and I misunderstood like that you had to join all this stuff. So I was sick and tired of Facebook, but I joined, and I'm like, I'm gonna get on here as just a skinny, um, with the inner tube, dad bod type thing, and it was such an encouraging group. I mean, like I'd get like Vasquez or Baca or even James on there, who's just like, Drew, hey, you're doing amazing. And I'm like, A, you know who I am, and B, like, holy, wow, okay, cool. And then learning more of the brand and learning more about your guys' values and stuff like that, turn things around. But another piece that really struck me, and as I came to know you guys more, was like, oh, there's hope for businesses. Your model, your values, and how you play in the secular world, you play in actually a very self-serving world too. But your values are true to form, and you treat people with love and respect. You treat your employees. I mean, I barely see ever a job posting that's not filled within 2 days. And yes, I do look. Because people need and want that connection piece, and when they have that, man, it's like a whole new lease on life. You're treating people how Christ, teaches to treat each other. And so that's where that hope piece came from. Oh, there's hope,
I love it.
hope for humanity, even because there's people like you and your team that are out there doing the things of Conquer Hunger, and many other things I just off the top of my head can't mention. So I could talk all day.
Yeah.
It could be a whole new episode.
I love
whatever.
that. Thanks for the response. I love that.
Well, and ironically, I've always felt that gym and getting healthy culture can be very toxic, which is weird, because we're all here to get healthy. And so Drew and I, when we were changing our lives, getting healthy, we wanted this podcast to be a communal area of people. Like, you don't have to be a David Goggins, to be something, and this is like Drew has said, going through the journey. And then Mountain Ops, I mean, our values just really aligned with taking care of each other and being there for each other, and all of us rise up together. It's just more fun.
I agree. It's so good, because at the Connect and Conquer this last week on Friday, we went around, everyone saying what they thought of teamwork, interdependence, like what, and one of the guys finally just said, I love what everyone's saying, but for me, it's more fun to do it together, and I was like, yeah, you know what? It is.
It's a great answer.
And, and it's especially if there's no ego, and everyone might be on a different, path in their journey. They might be at a different point in their journey, different fitness levels, different faith, experiences, different struggles. But man, when you can come together and there's no ego and there's just love, and desire to help one another, it's pretty powerful. And then I would say the outcome is hope. So I love
Agreed.
it. Boom.
So have you ever made a decision that looked right publicly but didn't feel right internally?
Yeah, that was a good question. I think I've been thinking on that one. I probably.
Well, and they're not to call you out. It's more from a standpoint of like, we all, are doing this life. We're all, and again, you're in two different worlds almost, in the sense of your faith and how you run your company, but then again, in a very secular world, that consumerism, all that stuff like that. And so there's got to be,
Yeah, I mean, I believe that the most suffocating thing would be to be in an environment where you didn't feel like you could be yourself. And I worry about that with our team. And so I love to create a space where it's like, be you, and let's put your best to work, and let's not worry so much about the weakness. And so I I subscribe to the the idea that I am who I am wherever I am.
Mm.
So you won't see me on social media acting one way and having a different conversation with somebody out on the street or in it just I feel like that would be the worst experience in life, is to just, okay, I'm now in the realm of business, I should act this
Yeah.
way for the sake of business. I can be a jerk because it's just business.
Mhm.
And then at home, I'm one way to my wife and kids. Now, in every element there, I find so much weakness in myself, and I'm always trying to be a better husband and father. And if I'm a better husband and father, guess what? I can do better in my workplace. I can lead better. I can be free in my mind and kind of free up space to really succeed. And so, you know, so I don't think there's been like a lot publicly that's like, oh, well, we're going to put on this facade, and in the back, like that's not actually what's happening.
Sure.
I think we're very transparent and honest about everything we put out. Now, uh, we had to we were going to launch some meals years ago, and we were super excited at Freeze Dried Meals. And it would have looked really good for us to come out with those, and then all of a sudden, a competitor came out with some meals that were better than what we had created.
Hmm.
And instead of saying, "Hey, we are going to do this and let's try to make it look better. Let's try to make it look up to par," we actually scrapped the entire thing. 40,000 packages of meals
Wow.
were finished goods. I've got some of them sitting up here in the historical archive. We used them, of course,
Yeah.
but but you know, publicly we could have figured out a way to sell that
Mhm.
and to make it okay and to look good against this competitor that launched like 2 to 3 weeks before us, and we're like, oh my gosh, their meals are better than ours.
Mm.
And so instead we just scrapped it. We went back to work, and actually this June we'll be launching our freeze-dried meals, the Mountain Ops meals. So this is kind of I don't think this has really been talked about.
Wow. You heard it here, folks.
and-
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. And they are
Breaking
so
news.
good.
Nice.
And
Oh, sweet.
they're much better than what we created before,
Ah.
And did it take a long time to get to that point? Yes, because we really put some time into it. We put some attention into it. We wanted to make sure it was everything that we would hope for it to be. And so I don't honestly, at Mountain Ops, I think you get what you see, and there's not really a
I
lot
love that.
hidden in the background that's like, oh, they're probably just doing this to get ahead, but maybe it's something different back there. I just go back to like that would be so suffocating to me
Sure.
Yeah.
to play a different part,
Sure.
to play a character.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
Well, I will say, Trevor, you are the same person from before I hit record that you are right
Yeah.
now. So
Yeah.
so
I'm still crying. Did I start crying?
No, that's it. We've teased about like who's going to be the first one to cry on our episode, and literally you are. So it took 57 episodes to do it.
no, I'm pretty sure I cried at some point.
Well, you always cry.
Or
I'm used to that. No, I'm sorry.
I make Drew cry sometimes, but yeah.
Oh, that's funny. So yeah, well, good. I hope there's an
award.
award for that.
Absolutely.
100%. Love it.
So a box of tissues, you guys, right?
There we
With
go.
the Mountain Ops emblem.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Layton, what do you want to ask Trevor?
What?
I'm putting you on the spot here, bro. And we're
Thanks.
coming down to the end here. What's of the remaining things?
Let's see. Well, and I was gonna say earlier, because you mentioned your Facebook posts. You're a very good storyteller, which is important. I love video shooting and editing. I just don't have the proper equipment, like because I edit our episodes, and I really love it. And making mountain bike videos and stuff, because I, as a kid, would make skate videos with my friends, and
Cool.
and so. So anyway, I just wanted to say, like, yeah, you're a very good storyteller on, like, I think one of the first videos I saw of yours was like waking up really early in the morning and just getting ready for the day. And I was like, oh, this is so cool. So
That's awesome. I
so
appreciate
you're,
that.
you're not a gabber. You the things you say are meaningful. They're not empty words. So
I think I carry a level of anxiety in my life because I care. I think I've been taught enough about time and attention and how valuable it is through the experience in life that I never want to be saying something or, taking up people's time unless hopefully I'm giving them something that could be useful. And, but I don't know. I feel like I see the stories that God's giving me in life, and I see them as such a gift, and what a blessing to have a story to tell. And we all have them. And I think one way for me to remember them and to remember God's hand, to recognize His hand, is to write it down. And then I share them with people. Sometimes I question, like, should I be sharing this? Like,
Right.
so much is out there on me and my family and our life. And but again, I have that FUMO, and if something could be shared with someone that points them to Jesus Christ, that gives them like a little glimmer of hope on a day that they might have needed it, and every once in a while I get a message from somebody who's like, "That was for me today, thank you," and it's like, okay, good, because I was struggling to know if I should even write that, but it's a way for me to remember it and to recognize God. And when I do that, it gets a little bit more ingrained. I don't think I have a great retention model working in my brain. I have to somehow like uh, uh, I guess absorb what I'm learning, see what God would have me. I feel like there's a wise purpose to everything we go through in
Mhm.
life. And, we're told to internalize things. I like to eternalize things. How would God see
Mhm.
this? What would He have me see from this? And then if I can share it or teach it or explain it, then it gets a little more ingrained, and my lack of ability to retain is then increased. It's just improved. And so I feel like it's a journal opportunity. It's hopefully helping someone, but it's my way of retaining it a bit
Yeah.
more. So
Drew and I struggled with like, oh, should we put this out there at the beginning of this podcast? Like, because our health journey, we both were finally like, dude, we're gonna die if we don't make some changes, and let's do it together. And he went the
yeah.
Mountain Ops route, and I went my own route, but
Which
we
is wrong.
did it. We obviously very wrong. I came around. Well, I don't like piggybacking on my brother's stuff, even though mountain biking and Yeti bikes and now Mountain Ops I have piggybacked, but we eventually, after getting a little bit more healthy, we'd call each other Saturday mornings and talk for like an hour and laugh and talk about what we're going through. And finally, we are like, "Wow, we should start a podcast." And so, but we had that fear of like, "Oh, do we have something to say? Or are we just adding emptiness to the noise of the podcast world?"
Two more white guys talking.
Yeah, and
You know,
yes, and
yeah.
but well, sorry, real quick, it's just all
No, you're
the
good.
feedback we've gotten from people, comments, even from Mountain Ops, are just like, "Oh, that was really impactful." It was just like, "Oh, cool, all right, let's keep this going." And so that for you too, like, don't shut that
I
noise
love
out of your
that.
brain. So
No, I appreciate that encouragement. I think we all need it. Like, I think we're prompted and inspired to do things, and then I definitely feel there's an adversarial effect. Anytime you feel prompted to do something good, then the doubt comes in,
Mhm.
and we should always obey that first impression, because especially when it's something good that can be useful, it can be developing for you and your growth and that of others. I feel like it'll always be met with an adversary,
Sure.
and that's usually a sign that you're on the right path. If you feel like
yeah,
you're going uphill, that's the right direction. If you feel like you were prompted to do something good and then the doubt sets in, that's how life works, and you should conquer
yeah.
that fear or that doubt.
There's plenty of people with megaphone, plenty of bad people with megaphones that
Yeah,
are loud at saying bad stuff.
yeah,
So we need to fight that. So
Well, that and
right.
I mean, Leighton and I on this journey as well have been like, well, we're brothers, that grew up in the church, and we have strong faith, and our perspective and lens is just the same as yours, in that
Yeah,
sense. And when we were starting the podcast, it's even like, how much do we bring that into it? Will that turn some people off or what, yada yada? And I think just over time, I mean, I think it was real quick. From your examples, many times it was just like, you know what? Well, that's just, if we're going to speak about, us as people, we're going to have to speak to body, spirit, and mind. And to leave out
yeah,
one, to leave out the spirit, to leave out, those pieces is we're incomplete. And how can we
yeah.
talk about wholeness and wellness and all that stuff like that if we're going to miss the creator, kind of thing. So
Uh,
we totally, embrace it.
I
And
love it.
that's,
I love that you're doing it as brothers. I've got brothers. We've got a great relationship, and I've seen other brothers that are torn apart through business or through whatever, and it's those family relationships are so important. But I I 100% agree. Like, if we're to speak of certain things, and not everyone's going to speak of God, and that it's okay. They can do what they want, but if we're speaking of certain things and we have this faith and belief in God, all those other things we speak of come because of him anyways, and so to remove the most important thing or to shy away from it, in life we have to stand for something or else we stand for nothing, right?
Hmm.
And I would rather at the end of the day be known as one that stood for and with him. And one of my favorite scriptures is Romans, and it says, I am not ashamed of the gospel of Jesus Christ, for it is the power of God unto salvation. So if salvation is the ultimate, like, blessing in our lives and it comes by way of the power of God, like, I want to share it. And, yes, use my words. Hopefully my actions speak louder than words. Hopefully all of us live in such a way that these people are blessed. And I know that's been my opportunities to be blessed by others who live that way, and I love the way it feels when somebody blesses my life because of their testimony or their witness or their walk with God. And so it is the most important aspect of who we
Yeah.
are.
Well, we love your brand, and the impact of your brand. And I'll leave with this. So we interviewed 13 people before you, Mountain Ops, past winners, all that stuff like that. And in conversation, there was multiple times people are like, "Hey, what does brand mean to you?" And they're like, I walk different. I drive different because I have a Mountain Ops sticker on the back of my car, and that represents something different. And I love that aspect because I same thing with my car. I've got a Mountain Ops sticker on it, and I drive better, or I'm reminded to drive better because if I cut somebody off, they're like da da da, and oh, there's a Mountain Ops sticker. So like, oh, that jerk, I mean, like, there's a
Mm,
psychological like
yeah.
connection to it. And so you haven't just built a brand. You've obviously, like, the supplements are amazing. They're clean. They do the job, but also in it you've created just a community that believes the mission. And that mission is always pointing up.
Love it.
And so, thank you so much for just through the trials you face, through the sorrows, through the brokenness, you chose to continue to move on. You chose to continue to focus on Christ and see where that takes you. And I truly believe and truly know, actually, that you're transforming lives way beyond your staff, way beyond just people buying your stuff. It's through Conquer Hunger. It's through the Facebook group. It's through anybody that comes in those connections, because Leighton and I hear it. We hear it when we talk with people, interview people. We hear it when
Mhm.
we're out wearing, repping your brand. Like, I'll be, I live in Washington, and I'll be at a park, and I'll see another dude with a hat on, and we kind of just give each other that
Mhm.
nod, like, oh, we
Yep.
know, kind of thing.
You just kind of know, huh?
Exactly, and it's a beautiful
Yeah.
thing. So thank you for being true to the brand because you're true to God. So.
I love that. Thank you for that compliment, and I'll share that with the team. I'll have them obviously listen to this because the thanks goes to all of the individuals that
Yeah.
that really have this brand just engraven upon their hearts and the mission and the core values, and
Your customer service is phenomenal, by the way.
they're the
They are.
best. They're the
They're
best.
always
Really,
answer.
honestly, I'm honestly just a simple guy that it was very blessed to be on this path of building a business with all the people that are here, and you guys included. I think of all that you do to encourage and motivate and inspire individuals. You knowing what that mark means and represents, and the depth of it, and the hope that it brings, and then you passing that on and kind of lighting the torch of another. You guys are part of the team, part of the family. We couldn't do it without you. And that's when all is said and done. I just want to thank you guys more than anything. It happens with you.
Awesome.
Oh,
So
Well,
thank you.
when we go to the Yeti Cycles gathering, we're repping Mountain Ops there for sure. So
I love it.
we'll We'll have jerseys and stuff like
We need to
that.
come up with some kit or something, right?
Yes.
You guys have one.
I know.
No, we want to connect
We
with
would
you
love-
guys to do so.
Yeah.
That'd be fun. That'd be
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
So
Make a mountain bike line.
let's make it happen.
Cool.
It doesn't have to be mountain bike line, but it's something together.
Yes, it does.
Oh, never
just
mind.
kidding.
Sorry.
I'm just kidding.
I think it makes sense. The mountain, and
Well, it's funny because I've been messing around with some like branding stuff with mountain biking and you guys, and there was it'd make more sense as a video clip, but the Mountain Ops logo, and then because MTB is mountain biking, the N flickering between an N and a B, like Mountain Ops, mountain
cool.
biking ops, and I was like,
I
that'd be
like
so
that.
fun.
That's cool, man.
So I was like trying to
can't
come up
wait
with
to see
mock-ups and
that.
stuff, and
Oh, that's a good idea.
yeah, but it's been fun, and even like I made like your guys' logo, and then like a deer with, and then also handlebars, the
cool.
deer antlers and stuff. Just playing around. It's been fun.
I love it. You got to share that with us
Okay.
sometime.
well.
That's awesome. Very cool.
All right, brother. We'll see you in a few months.
Yes.
Thank you, guys.
If you need anything from us, let us know. We're always there for you. Not that you don't have a huge team and support behind you, but
You guys are awesome. We need all the support and the encouragement, and we need, we just all need each other, right? And I would just say thank you for encouraging the group along the way. Thank you for creating a platform to tell the stories of transformation, and for everyone that's been a part of that group and will continue to. I saw somebody the other day say, "Hey, now that the 90 days is over, does this group like stay involved and consistent with each other?" And it's like, yes, and we need to. Like, it can't be a 90-day thing.
Yeah.
We need to conquer more next month and the next month, and we've
Yeah.
got more, more to come. And I'd love to jump in and be a little more involved there when it makes sense and when I can. And just because I love the group, I love the people in there, and I always want them to know I appreciate and respect everyone, all they're doing.
yeah.
So
No, absolutely.
Yeah, I think the last 3 or 4 episodes we've been really talking about like what's next after
What next?
90, and we've seen a lot of conversations like, oh wow, now I'm actually starting to think about what the next challenge or how I'm going to adjust to maintain, and so it's been cool to see.
Yeah, no, the goal is definitely to create routines and consistency and something that's that people can live day to day, It's so, but appreciate you guys' encouragement and involvement there. It means the world.
100%, man.
Thanks,
It's an
man.
honor. So, well, thank you everybody for
Awesome.
tuning in this week. And any questions, feel free to reach out. We're on all platforms. Thank you again to our guest,
Subscribe.
Trevor Farnes, for your time, your wisdom, your heart, your tears. Sweaty eyes.
Sweaty
Your
eyes.
passion.
You always see that passion. I love it. It's awesome to see and be a part of. So thank you so
Thanks.
much.
Yeah.
Thank you,
man.
guys. It's an honor.